Testing one. Okay, so let me have your attention. We'll go ahead and get started. Sorry for the late start. We had some people in line. I forgot about that. And so I gave you an agenda. So whatever's on the agenda, that's what it's going to do. Follow that. We're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Very Johnson, you lead us in the prayer after the pledge. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Amen. Y'all don't know that, do you? Okay, we'll have Larry Johnson say the prayer for us. If you'll bow your head.
Dear Lord, thank you for all of us here. Please protect our soldiers, women and men fighting, serving this country all over the world. And thank you for all our veterans here, and everybody that's here to help make a change and see what we can do to help better our community. And please, dear Lord, take care of all of us. Please forgive us all of our sins in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Okay, what's the next thing on this agenda? Okay. Kyle was supposed to be here, but I don't see him, so we're lucky to have Peter Richardson. He's running for Precinct 4. He's running as a Republican, which is very rare in that part of town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you inviting me over here. Howdy, y'all. So my name is Peter Michelena, as Mike introduced me, and I'm running for County Commissioner for Precinct 4. Now, Precinct 4 has historically been a Democratic precinct, and it even extends to the primary right now, where my opponent is also a Democrat, but he's running as a Republican. I'm not going to talk about that too much. But my main goal here, and the reason I decided to run, was after talking to a lot of veterans at the VFW and talking to the community members and going to Commissioner's Court, I realized that what's happening now is that there's just a rubber stamp process that's going on in the Commissioner's Court. And that's our tax dollars. Our tax dollars are being spent by tens of millions of dollars on projects that y'all probably don't even know about, that are just being funded by our property taxes, and it's in excess. Right now, I think that our budget is in excess of $10 million. That may not seem like a lot, but you know what the budget is, the income from our taxes is only $26 million. You start wondering where this money's going. What I think this county needs right now is a commissioner that can stand up and make a decision that will help us out on an everyday basis by alleviating some of these taxes, alleviating the spending, and making positive change. You need a commissioner that will say no. You need a commissioner that will stand up for what he believes in and not be subjected to the influences of other people in this area, such as high-ranking officials in the city of Bryan, City College Station. Will watch out for what we're doing and how our lives are going. So that's why I'm asking y'all to vote for me in this primary and vote for me in this upcoming election in November to represent y'all as County Commissioner of Precinct 4. And I'd also like to thank Mike Southerland for all his support and mentorship. He's been great. I'm a normal guy. I was in the Marine Corps. I came here to Texas A&M. I've been working at the VFW and I worked at the City of Bryan. I'm not a person that's been spending my life in politics. I'm here just trying to do the right thing and address some of the concerns that have been raised in this community. So I think that Mike also has supported me a lot, and he's a great man. His leadership has really shown from the time in the Army, and every other organization has been a part of, especially the City Council. So thank you all for coming out here to support him, and I look forward to seeing you all vote for me in November.
Thank you, Pete. Very much. Okay, so I have a program introduction. I'm not going to do that, though. I've given you 3 pages. I've given you 3 pages besides the agenda. We'll go by the agenda, but what I want you to know is I have a speech. The third page is a speech, which I'm not going to give. I need to talk to you about other things, but the second page is a telephone line, and a telephone number that I've got set aside separate cell phone that you can call in if you have issues. And what I plan to do with that is, when you call in an issue, if I know what staff it belongs to or who it belongs to, I'll send it to them to work on it. If not, I'll send it to the commission for it. I did that in the city council, and I worked pretty well. As a matter of fact, Raphael was on there when we were doing that. So that's so you'll have that handy. Okay, then the next page is called What Drives Me. That's the underpinning of what I do and how I do it. And but I think I've got to add more to that. Then the last page is a plan, a draft plan for review committees, which I plan to establish quite a few of. And I'll explain that to you later on as we go. Okay, so I think it's the most important thing for me, or for you rather, is that you understand how I can do what I say I'm going to do. And I have the people here, Kat, Raphael, Leo, Larry, and Francis, are people that I work with, and we did some things. I don't mean we talked about it, we did it. And the way I work with that is somebody's got an issue, I never say I can do it, I just say, I'm going to listen, see what I can do, understand, and we'll figure out how to do it. And you'll learn that. And I'm also going to give you some other history beyond them. So let's start off with our guest presenter, Kat. And the reason I asked her to talk about, come on, Kat. The reason I asked her to talk about the Veterans Treatment Court is because she's been working with a lot of veterans, and she can explain in better detail than others that I work with on why we need one. And I've worked on the Veterans Treatment Court for 3 years, and the county just ignored me. So, Kat, thank you very much.
First off, I want to say thank you all for taking the time to come. I know it's a big deal. Everybody's busy, even retired folks like me. Okay, the first thing I was asked to do is quite an honor, and that is to read a poem that Larry Johnson wrote, and he's here. He's already said the prayer. He wrote this poem, y'all, and I get the honor to say it. The name of it is The Silent War Within. They signed their life away to serve the USA. Some come home from war, then they die. It's from the silent battles of the war within. This country should say, why? Oh, why? Our veterans die by suicide. Then we cry. It's got to be stopped. Some way, somehow, no, not later, but now. Maybe help before they leave military service, men as soldiers, they will follow those orders, because their suicide, this death, has no borders. Thank you, Larry. I've been in the Bryan College Station area for over 55 years. The closest veteran I've known for 68 years is my nephew, who served in the Navy. Through the recovery of anything from Space Shuttle Challenger on the USS Preserver. In early 2024, I became a friend to a veteran who changed my thinking of vets, especially the ones with PTSD or TBI. I knew what PTSD at the time stood for, but not TBI. Let's begin with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. It's classified as a mental illness, but it's important to know it is not a character flaw, weakness, moral, or spiritual failure. PTSD is a normal human response to abnormal, extreme stress that persists beyond the immediate danger. It affects brain function, stress hormones, and emotional regulation. PTSD is often treatable very effectively with therapy, MASIS. It's an acronym for microcurrent neurofeedback. And we had a doctor with us at Veterans Day speech that she talked about how veterans are getting help from this with PTSD and TBI. Okay. Sometimes also medication is used. Many people, especially vets and first responders, live productive, successful lives while managing or recovering from this disorder. Please know and remember that PTSD is recognized in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. TBI stands for traumatic brain injury and is usually associated with bombs or explosives. Also, would you remember and spread this truth? Freedom is not free. There are those that fought for the freedoms we take for granted, like gathering here for this rally, and then hopefully voting for Mike Southerland and others that we believe will serve our county, city, state, and nation with honest excellence. Most of the veterans I know that endure one or both PTSD and TBI do not have any physical signs that they have experienced this piece of hell on earth. They are loving, pretty, or handsome, enjoy cracking a joke, everyday folks on the outside. The ones I know are retired, some employed, many have a family. From my perspective, they are all searching for peace in any area of their being. The simple fact is that they feel they're living on borrowed time while still processing why they made it back, but their buddy didn't. Our Brazos Valley needs this Veterans Treatment Court that Mr. Southerland strongly supports and wants to become a reality here. We both want it to be the usual, like getting help for the flu, for them to seek emotional, mental health, learning to navigate life with the brain they came home from war with. Mike also wants vets to be comfortable and not shamed, embarrassed, or feeling unworthy in seeking help, care, support from the best trained professionals. Those with medical credentials and recommendations from renowned sources, not the bottom of the barrel, but the cream of the crop. If a family is involved, they are also struggling with their loved vet, trying to help them cope with memories of the trauma that they live with 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Yep, even at night. When most of us sleep, the ones with PTSD or TBI share symptoms of going to sleep for a couple of hours and then waking only to relive the past and be awake for hours in the midst of night. Many of them try to help themselves in self-treating by using alcohol, weed, or anything that brings relief from the trauma imagery. After you get home tonight and alone in thought, try to imagine what spouses and young or grown children go through as they live with a veteran who lives the life of chaos in their mind, their soul, and their physical body. There is a deep level of training for our service people involving pride, obedience to directions, man or woman up teaching, indoctrination, suppressing emotion, demonstrating toughness, strength, courage, resilience, focusing on the mission, while at the same time trying to survive. I'm not trying to change the training, but giving you some glimpses as to why a veteran stepping off a plane or ship back home on home ground after their deployment cannot undo their training by telling their brain to pick up where they were before they left to serve you and I, as well as this great nation. They need help to adjust. And I repeat, learn to navigate life with the brain they came home from war with. No matter what family they originally had, they now have an extended family of the brothers and sisters they served side by side. The camaraderie they now share is usually not ever broken. To some vets, the identity they come home with, they do not get to keep as a civilian. Why did I say that? A perfect example of that is a sniper. An older veteran I interviewed and see at every meeting or lunch I attended said, "We don't integrate into society worth a damn." The vet who changed my way of thinking 2 years ago confessed and believed there was no help for him and the way his brain functions. The ones I have met and know since then, because of my choice to spend time with them at dedicated meetings and lunches, all believe that no one understands them except someone who's been there, experienced some sort of commonality while serving our country, so you and I could live in a free environment and not have to run to a bomb shelter in the blink of an eye. If a veteran is numbing his body or soul with drugs and alcohol due to his service and the fact he or she can't unremember the trauma, shouldn't we be extra careful to not add more misery to the wound? A vet's pride and lack of health, concern, respect, honor, support is what usually gets them into a predicament. Who are we to abandon them, be indifferent during a time of processing what all they've been through serving this country? We do have a mental health court called Restart that I believe is in the beginning stages this year in our Brazos County. This is not the best answer for vets. They really do need and deserve their own court because of the uniqueness of their circumstances. We're grateful for the addition of Restart in our county. Hopefully, most of you here know the need for mental health care is alive and growing in our nation and beloved Texas. May we never go through a catastrophic event where folks regret our county not having ample resources for all needing support, including mental health care. Remember last July 4th when a river in Texas flooded miles and miles, taking lives and more? I would bet there's still hundreds needing and hopefully receiving the mental care they need because of what they went through. Even those that went to hell, now they're trying to live with what they saw. When there is a Veterans Treatment Court as well as Restart for civilians, there will be more resources for both to be available to all in a timely manner and not taking 4, 6, or 8 weeks to get an appointment. In speaking to many area vets of all ages, it seems the VA medical system in place is overworked and understaffed. My heart in all this is for the Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and all other veterans that said yes to serving be on the highest priority list for the best of care. We help children and others of all ages with other challenges, mental as well as physical, to live happy, fulfilling, and fruitful lives. May we want to give our Brazos Valley veterans, at the very least, the same. I'm asking you to vote for my Southerland, who will work fervently to get it done. Also, from Miss Candy's heart and Tim, I say thank you God for blessing America.
Okay, I'm not advocating spending more money. Let's get that straight, because the VA has a program that they will bring here to the Brazos Valley and take care of these guys so they're not in the civilian system, as Kat said. So what we're doing is we're passing up some resources that we could use. There's the young vets try to medicate themselves. They'll drink, they'll get drunk, and when they do that, they get involved with the police, and the police put them in jail. And I've talked to attorneys that say they don't need to be in jail. They need help. And so we can get it here, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why the Commissioner's Court won't help that. It doesn't cost them anything, really. So that'll be probably top on the list, if not top on the list, it'll be real close to the top on the list. Okay, now who's next here? Raphael Penna. Raphael and I were on the he was the youngest guy elected to the Bryan City Council when he got elected. And he and I were on the City Council together, and we caused some issues.
Hi everyone, my name is Raphael Penna. I've served one term on the Bryan City Council as a District 2 representative. I'm a current board member on the Brazos Central Appraisal District, and we had a meeting today. And when I heard there was free food, I was like, I gotta come. But the reason I'm here tonight is to support Mike for county judge. You know, when I first ran for City Council, I gotta look at the different styles of leadership, from the powers that be, the good old boys, if you want to say that, and then Mike Sutherland's leadership. And when I went door to door, knocking on the doors and asking what the citizens want, and then telling me, I told Mike, this is what they want. He said, okay, this is how you do it. Versus the other side, I got to kiss through. And that's the different style of leadership, and that's the leadership that Mike brings. In my very first meeting on the Bryan City Council, Mike gave me I told him what I wanted, and he gave me a PowerPoint presentation that I gave to the City Council that outlined the heart of my campaign. And what the citizens wanted were sidewalks, better roads, normal things that you would think the city would not lose focus on, they did lose focus on. And then I asked Mike, what are the issues that, how do we get things on the agenda? Mike, help me understand the processes and what needed to be done to get an item on the agenda. And outside's helped me. And he needs 2 votes. You make the motion, you need a second. And we got a lot of issues on the agenda that Mike helped me write. And then when Mike got on the council, it made it even easier because it wasn't just Al and Mike. Me and Al, it was Mike as well. And we were able to push a lot of issues. And I was just talking to Mike about this earlier. We must have submitted close to 300 agenda items that were citizen focused. Not something that me and Mike wanted personally, but something like, an example, Scurry Park. They had an issue with parking. And Mike and I put an item on the agenda that added 13 new parking spaces at Scurry Park. Or the lighting in all the parks. Mike and I put an item on the agenda that retrofitted all the existing bullheads. We got LED lighting in all the parks in District 2. And it wasn't just spending, but we had smart spending. What do I mean by that? Well, when a developer comes to build a subdivision, they have to pay a park land dedication fee in lieu of having to build a park. And so we use, it's divided by single member districts, park land dedication fees to pay for that. So we save the citizens some money. And just my experience with Mike Southerland has been one that I won't forget, and one that's, we're using why I'm here today, and why I've supported Mike. So I do believe he's the best candidate for the job. And I believe his style of leadership is citizen focused. You know, he's not beholden to any special interest. You know, I supported Mike when he ran against another, when he was running for his single member District 4, and that candidate spent $100,000 on a job that pays you $10 a month. That tells you something about the position. And that candidate had every mayor, current mayor, former mayor, all the councilmen from both cities, which I think is weird, endorsing that candidate, and Mike still won. So I think that Mike doesn't have a good chance. I think he does. And I hope you support me and support Mike Sutherland for judge. Thank you.
You have to have some details you have to understand that I will do. One was, right before he got on the council, we were getting a bunch of stuff on the agenda. Well, no, he was on the council. We were getting a bunch of stuff on the agenda. As a matter of fact, one thing that he and I put on the agenda was annexing Brazos. And the mayor said, you can't annex that place. It's all underwater. It's in the floodplain. I said, Mayor, they don't build a damn runway in a floodplain. Come on. Anyway, so that took 4 years to get that done, but we got it done. The other thing that happened was we were getting that stuff on the agenda just left and right, but like he said, it wasn't our things. People needed help. That's what I thought you were supposed to do. And so one day I went to a council meeting and they had a thing on the agenda that prohibited, actually it was against me, to get something on the agenda because they wanted to require 4 people to make an item to go on the agenda. And so that really violates the meetings law. And so I told them that. I said, why are y'all doing that? And part of it said, we're punishing you. I said, yeah. I said, you're not punishing me. This is none of my stuff. It's my stuff that you got management, an organization, not about fixing somebody's sewer or road or something like that. And so I told him, I never forgot, I told him, I said, you know what, I'll figure a way around that. And sure enough, the city charter allows you to change the rules and tell them how to work. And Karen's going to talk about that in a minute, but so Karen and I got a charter amendment done so that it only requires 2 people to get something on the agenda. And so the county is not exactly that restrictive in terms of the people taking control, but the county can set operational rules up that will govern those kind of things. That the whole party the whole commissioner court has to vote on. And once it's voted on, you have to follow that until they change it later on. Okay, so I can't remember, we got in all kinds of trouble. But I say that I don't get in trouble, I mean, when people have issues, and they go to everybody available to try to solve the issue, and it's not solved, by the time I got it last, well, it was a big problem. And those other people didn't want to do it, so you had to fight real hard, so I'm not a troublemaker, I'm a problem solver. Okay, Raphael, now we got Leo. Leo is a long-time friend in the last year, and we worked on a, seems like 24/7 on a nonprofit organization. Thank you. He's a veteran too, Marine. All these guys are Marine.
Howdy.
You gotta get it kind of close to
Howdy. Like I said, my name is Leo Rivera. I'm here to talk on behalf of Mike Southerland, but I want to take a second. Mr. Pete mentioned later he had stuff to do because he's a busy man as well, taking care of other people. I just want to say a couple things about Mr. Pete. Met him when I was over at the VFW, and I told him I needed help, and he responded. So he jumped in, started learning the ways of the VFW, learning what we needed to get done, took his expertise and used it to help us do a full safety assessment of the building and start bringing that place up to speed. So that speaks highly upon his character to do that voluntarily with his off time. And as he's also a combat veteran, and he's done a lot of great things up until this point. I'd love to see him in office to continue to serve the community he loves. So please vote for him. Thank you. All right, so basically, I got a short little speech, only like 10 pages. I'm trying to whittle it down, but I talk a lot, so everybody knows that. So good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and for all the friends and family that we have here. Unfortunately, my wife and a couple kids that you see, so they're at home. Otherwise, they would be here to endorse Mr. Mike as well. They love him, and you know, he's truly here for the people, so that's why I took the time to come out this night, even though we've been busy all week. So we basically gathered here for one vital reason. We recognize that the storms of life, or the challenges and growth of Brazos County, the character of our leaders becomes our community's strongest anchor. We're looking for that leadership we can trust, not just during the easy times, but when the pressure is on. We want a county judge who doesn't just treat service as a campaign buzzword, as you've heard before, but as a lifestyle he has practiced for decades. I'm honored to stand here before you tonight to support a man I've worked alongside in the community, a man I've seen navigate the complex trenches of public service with grace, and a man I am proud to call my friend, Mike Southerland. Mike is running on a platform that perfectly captures the temperament our county needs right now: calm, focused, and accountable. To truly understand why Mike is the right choice for this moment, you have to look at the foundation of his character. Mike is a retired United States Army veteran who served in Vietnam as a combat helicopter pilot. In the cockpit of a combat helicopter, there's no room for hesitation. There's no room to think about yourself only. Mike was the one at the controls making split-second decisions in the highest of stakes of environments, where the safety of his fellow soldiers rested entirely on his hands. When you're a combat pilot, there's no room for ego, panic, or half measures. You learn quickly that lives depend on your ability to stay calm when the world around you is in chaos. You learn to stay focused on the mission despite the thousands of distractions. And above all, you learn to be accountable to every decision you make, because the consequences are real and immediate. Mike didn't leave those values on the battlefield. He brought that same mission-first mindset home to Brazos County. Whether he was sitting on the Bryan City Council, working through heavy, unglamorous lifting of infrastructure, zoning, and public safety, or spending the weekends advocating for veterans' rights, at our local nonprofits, such as the VFW and the Vietnam Veterans Organization. Mike has always been the leader who shows up early, he stays late, and he gets the job done without looking for a pat on the back. I just want to share with you a little story that will exemplify this. Many people in politics enjoy talking about caring for the community. But I've had the privilege of seeing what that really looks like when no one's watching. A couple of years ago, while we were serving together at the VFW, we encountered a disabled veteran and his wife who were facing a nightmare because their RV had broken down and it was 180 degrees outside. They had a catastrophic breakdown and were stranded. They were invisible to the world. Actually, the police were fixing to tow them and make them homeless. Facing the very real threat of this homelessness, while the triple-digit Texas heat turned their only shelter into another. Now we've all seen how the system usually works. A lot of people in public life would have just checked a box and handed them off a phone list or called an agency, and just been done with it. I did my part. If they even did that much. But Mike isn't a lot of people. Mike took their crisis personally. He took it to heart. He didn't just find them a temporary fix. He stayed by their side through the entire summer duration of the struggle, day after day, as the pavement radiated that suffocating heat. Mike was out there in person. He brought them food. He brought them water. He brought them ice. Day after day, as the pavement radiated, Mike was consistently checking on these folks, making sure their health was okay. He was critically aware of that. He was calling attention to the problems that needed to be solved right then and there, and he was not going to leave until it was done. He reached into his own pocket and gave his own treasure and his own time to ensure that they were protected until a more permanent solution could be secured. He didn't do it for a headline or a photo op, and there were no cameras, no press releases, and no social media posts. He did it because he possesses a deep-seated heart for people and a work ethic that says the mission isn't over until the job is done right. That is the man I want sitting in the county judge office. The county judge is like the chief executive officer of our local government. This role isn't for grandstanding. It requires laser focus on the complex systems that protect our families and a deep accountability to the taxpayers who fund them. We need a judge who treats every dollar of the county budget with the same respect Mike showed that veteran's family. It requires a leader who remains steady when budgets get tight or emergencies arise. It requires someone who understands that every single budget item represents the hard-earned tax dollars in a real person in the room. Mike Southerland isn't looking for a title or a seat of power. He's looking for a way to continue his lifetime of service. He is a man of unshakable integrity who will be accountable to you and the citizens every single day he holds the gavel. In closing, in his Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln famously spoke of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We often repeat those words, but we sometimes forget that they represent a challenge. They remind us that our government is only as good, only as honest, and compassionate as the people we choose to represent us. Brazos County deserves a leader who lives up to that Lincoln standard. Someone with Mike's unique blend of combat-tested grit, local government expertise, and genuine, quiet compassion. We need someone who understands that the office of county judge belongs to the residents of the county and not to a person behind the desk. So tonight, let's do more than just applaud. Let's take this mission home. Talk to your neighbors, Share the story of the man who chose to serve when no one was looking. And together, let's elect who will always put Brazos County first. Let's elect Mike Southerland. Thank you. God bless you and your families. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. What he did said, I worked for him. He was my boss. So all the stuff we did was under his direction. And so, but it was wonderful. We had a lot to do, and we did it. And pretty much he would say, not do it. So that's the way it worked, and I appreciate you very much. Okay, the next person on our list is kind of the same thing as Larry Johnson, who already said the prayer. And he's going to talk about some more veterans assistance. And I don't know if I mentioned a while ago, but the reason that veterans assistance is so critical, besides saving people and their lives and their families, it's going to save you money because we're going to have somebody else take care of them and you don't have to pay for it, which is already been paid for, which is so stupid. Anyway, Larry Johnson.
I've been here in Brazos County about 60-something years of my life. I met this great guy here about 25 years ago when we started up the Vietnam Veteran Chapter of America again. And I just learned how good a guy he was. He was like my big brother. Remember one night I called him at midnight, hey, I need a place to stay. He came to the motel, but they wouldn't take the card over the phone and pay for my motel room. They didn't have any money. But it's a lot more than that after going to all that, but it's, I've seen, I was there with Leo and Mike, and that veteran was broke down out there. Mike not only helped him, he went and got him a portable air conditioner unit with a motor wouldn't run. And paid for all of it out of his own pockets. I mean, just the guys, I've seen him help so many people, it's just, it's hard to believe, hard to explain. When I first met him 25 years ago, I don't know if I like this guy or not, he's so damn tough. He's so honored. But then I got to know him, and I like, if I had a brother, I got a couple of guys in my life, I'd have a brother, big brother, I wanted to be just like him. Because, he's not worried about what, he just wants to know who he can help next, what he can do. And when veterans will jump back, VA did away with our group in 2019, and Mike joined our group with the Army Reserve Center. We used to be the commander over there these last few years in the Army, but when we kept it going, we lost. After the VA did away with our group, the clinic, we lost one of our buddies at the end of the war. The only way it happened. And so we kept it going along with Mike's help. Mike had a good friend named Kurt on a place called the Feed Barn. And Kurt said, yeah, y'all come in my room. We just didn't have a lot of people jumping up to let us meet somewhere. We didn't really have a home. But Kurt and Mike were good friends, and Kurt's a big veteran back there that appreciates. I don't know if I can't express it in the word, because if anybody that knows me very much knows I'm a talker. And sometimes when I get in front of people, talk about stuff dear to my heart, it's hard to talk for me to talk sometimes, but I've been knowing the now county judge all my life. He's a couple years older than me, but when he appointed the general to overlook the veterans court system, I didn't like that, because sometimes I think that generals lost touch with the real world, the real veterans. Went down to earth, So when they come back and say we didn't need a veterans court, I'm more like, man, that's crazy. Because we get letters every once in a while to VFW from veterans locked up requesting help or some kind of assistance. And do I think all of them are locked up for bad guys? No, if they'd had that help, maybe they wouldn't be in prison. Maybe it wasn't nothing bad they did. But some of them, if they got a court-appointed lawyer, that unfortunately sometimes that's not much help. I know too many cases. Some court-appointed lawyers are good, some are not. It's not how they want to take their job, or who their best buddies with, because Mike pushed for that Veterans Court. But he knows, he joined our group, I don't remember, many years ago. He knows how bad we need that. Because most people don't really understand unless you live with a veteran. Or you be around them every day. You know, you don't know what the family goes through. So, in a lot of cases with the Veterans Court, they take and counsel the family and the veteran to try to help them work through the problems that's going on in their life that the average person doesn't understand. So I tell the young veterans that come to our group, try to get the young ones to come. So I say, whatever you do, try to get help. Come to the group. Sure, you may not like it at first. I didn't like it at first. I wouldn't say nothing at first, but don't mess your family up. Get help, get counseling, come to the group. And basically that's what the Veteran Court proposes to do. If they get in trouble, help them. Give them counseling. But I thank the man for the job. Here's Mike Southerland, my friend. So I appreciate all y'all being here. But if you're here, you support the veterans. If you're here, you support Mike Southerland and our community. Because like I said, I've been here 60-something years of my life. I don't want to go nowhere. When I came home from Vietnam, I stayed here. Somebody said, go to Houston, you make more money as a cop up there. No, I'll stay here, be a cop here. But I appreciate all y'all being here, and I appreciate y'all's support. Vote for Mike, that's all I can tell you. And I love y'all.
Larry's very dedicated too. He works out the VFW 7 days a week, 12 hours at least a day. He's done that for a very long time. He cares about the veterans too. This reminds me of a joke. We need to go break in. There's a lion walking through the jungle. I bet y'all heard this. So he's walking through the jungle and he encounters a giraffe. He rears up on his back legs and raises his paws and says, "Who's the biggest, baddest animal in the forest?" And the giraffe says, "Oh, you are, Mr. Lion." So he goes on down the road a little further and he encounters some monkeys. He does the same thing. And the monkeys say, "Oh, you are, Mr. Lion. You are, no doubt." So then he gets down a little further and he encounters an elephant. And he does the same thing. "Who are the biggest, baddest?" And the elephant takes his trunk and goes, whack! and he knocked the elephant down, the lion down a little bit. And so the lion gets up, shakes off all the dirt and everything. And he walks back up to the elephant. He says, "Hey, buddy, if you didn't know the answer to the question, you don't have to act like that." And so that's pretty much, we're the elephant, and they don't understand what we're trying to tell them when they're ready from the court, on the commissioner's court. So anyway, okay, so the next thing, what I'm trying to do, I hope it comes across. Oh, we do have a general here. All generals aren't bad. There's a good guy right there. As a matter of fact, I was going to work in it later, but he and I have been talking about, see, the county can be involved in all kinds of stuff. You pay taxes, everybody pays taxes. It's not just in outside the city limits, everybody pays taxes. And so the county needs to be involved in helping all citizens, not just the ones that are outside the city limits. And so we've been talking about water. Water's a problem, and he's the president of the water, what is it? Wixom Water. And they provide a lot of water for, I guess, half of the county just about. So we got to work with them. We got to help them, and there's ways we can do that. And I know that he does too. I don't know if it's exactly doable the way we're talking about it, but there is a way to do it and conserve the water. Okay, so the next, thank you for being here too. And the next thing on the agenda is, Francis. No, I left off Karen. Oh, no! Karen, okay, Karen, what I'm trying to do is show you that I can do what I say I'm going to do, and that's what these people are telling me, that they work with it, and they know they've seen it. And so Karen is one that works on charter amendments. Karen. She's got lots of experience.
Okay, yeah, sure. then I think what I have noticed when Mike sees it wrong, he does everything in his power to fix it. And Kat stole my line. Get her in. All right, you need to not. Okay, over the years, I have worked with Mike on several charter amendments that allow the citizens of Bryan to vote on changes that they would like to see in the city. He made it sound so easy. It's a city charter. You get to walk the streets, knock on the doors, talk to people, explain what you want, and then ask them to sign. And once you get 1,800 signatures, you submit it to the city and they put it on the ballot. They have no choice. So a few of the ones, and as some of them mentioned, that there were 2 city council members and we wanted to go to 4, so when they, because with both Raphael and Al and Mike, 3 wouldn't have accomplished stopping it. So they tried 4. On a 7-member council, 4 people is not allowed to, they're not allowed to talk. That's a quorum. It has to be an open meeting. So we walked the streets. It was the easiest petition we've ever circulated. Everybody thought that 4 was bad, 2 was good. That one was easy. Another one that I couldn't find, I didn't want to find them all over here all night. He thought there should be some ethics in writing for the city of Bryan. I love watching them try to intimidate Mike. I thought, they clearly do not understand what it takes to fly a helicopter in a war zone. Okay, he does not back down easily, or at all. One of them, no person related within the first or second or whatever could serve or could serve on committees or be employed by the city of Bryan. Sounds like common sense, but it was not in writing and it was abused. Here's the one Mike talked about earlier. You can't use the prestige of the city official's position on behalf of a candidate or political party or an issue. So, that was it. And then my personal favorite was, if anyone donated more than $250 to a candidate, that candidate could, and then they brought an issue before the council, that candidate could not vote on that issue. Really? A lot of blowback on that one. So anyway, that's just some samplings of what we went through on the charter amendments. But don't make it sound so easy, Mike. Just kind of off the record, if I may. On Tuesday, I informed the Bryan City Council that in 1 week, if they did not come up with a better idea, we were going to take removing the meetings on Texas Avenue to a charter amendment and let the people vote. I was well trained in charter amendments.
Yeah, that charter amendment about the 250 deal, all the real estate people came out against us. They spent $50,000 trying to stop that. But it was such a common sense thing, it didn't happen. And going back to what she's talking about, changing the Bryan charter so that they have a way to get the meetings out, that's the only way you're going to stop the East Loop. Because the mayor's for it, and I just heard he endorsed my opponent. So we got to have a charter amendment to keep the city of Bryan from okaying that path, that loop without a vote of the people involved with it. And that you just got to change the charter to do that. That's not a problem. One time we got 3,000 signatures on some charter amendments, and the city secretary knocked them all off. I mean, she knocked it down below the required number. She said they weren't valid. So anyway, that's kind of a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, that's another reason I know how to use the other cities to help the county in the things that you want to do. Okay, let's see, who's next? Francis. And, okay, this is another one of those 3-year battle deals, and it starts from somebody says, hey, Mike, you know how bad it is over there in the animal shelter? You know, this was employees talking. And so I said, no clue. So I spent 3 years in my office listening to that stuff, not that stuff, but the issues associated with that, and found out that in the meantime, I'll take some of the speech, that they were killing 80% of the animals. They were killing them, cats and dogs both. And it just went down every day. Plus, they were spending twice the amount of money it took for other facilities to do it. And the city of Bryan didn't even know they owned the darn thing. So, here you go. Francis to Judy.
I'm shorter than you are, actually. Hi, good evening, everybody. On behalf of myself and Mike's team, we want to thank you for coming out this evening to learn more about Mike and his campaign to become our next county judge. The past 20 plus years, I've had the pleasure and the honor of knowing and working with Mike. I've followed his many trials and tribulations on the Bryan City Council and worked with him personally on several important and critical community issues. Now, one in particular, that as a longtime animal rescuer, is really dear to my heart. In 2008-2009, Mike was made aware of several concerning issues occurring at the Bryan Animal Center, which at that time was our only existing shelter. Several employees had contacted him about an unusually high kill rate at the shelter and unsatisfactory conditions for the employees and the animals. And in addition, there were some concerns about the operating budget for the shelter. So after making a personal visit to the shelter, Mike discovered, among other problems, that there was no AC in the building, that the operating costs to house each animal were 2 times what they should have been, that the kill rate was excessively high, and that although the shelter building was actually owned by the city, the employees were contract employees. They weren't city employees. So when Mike presented these issues to the city council, he discovered that the council seemed to be completely unaware of these issues, and there seemed to be like zero interest in improving the conditions of the shelter. So as a result, for the next 3 long years, Mike worked tirelessly with the council in defining and educating them on the shelter issues. He also sought input from local rescue groups and shelter employees. And as a result of this dedication, 3 years later, the city of Bryan took over the actual management of the shelter. Conditions were improved and the high kill rate was reduced. And our community finally had a much better and safer facility for housing homeless animals. But Mike didn't stop there. Okay, he soon realized the need for a second shelter that could accommodate the College Station and county homes. And as a result, through his leadership, persistence, and determination, he went on to collaborate with and organize local rescue groups, citizens, and private donors. And in time, our second shelter, Águila and Humane, was built. Now, I firmly believe that problems in our community can never be solved unless our elected officials are first willing to listen to our citizens. Communication really is the bottom line. It's the key. In the spirit of full transparency and concern, you look on your materials there, you can see where Mike has set up a number that anyone can call to voice a comment or a concern. Now, who does that? Okay. The details again are on your sheet. So, in closing, I firmly believe that Mike has the background, he has the experience, he has leadership skills to take Brazos County into a new direction where our citizens' concerns are valued, acknowledged, and addressed. And I'm going to close with a short story that will give you some insight into the character and integrity of this man. Several years ago, our our rescue group rescued an emaciated, heartworm positive pit bull that was found running down Highway 21. I volunteered to care for Dulcie, take her, and foster her. And when the weather turned very cold, I knew it was going to happen that weekend, I realized that I needed a small amount of hay to cover the bottom of Dulcie's igloo. And if you guys have animals, you know about igloos. And you know that really the circumference of an igloo is not really very big, but it can get really cold. Okay, so it's actually about a large garbage bag full. So who to call? Okay, so first I did call an elected county official that I knew had a large ranch, many cows, and was definitely very financially comfortable. So I asked politely for this small amount of hay. But this individual declined and proceeded to give me a long laundry list of reasons why a garbage bag of hay would be just impossible for him to provide. Okay, so now what? It's going to get cold. Who do I call? Thinking. Okay, let me call her. Let me call her. So I called him with my request. Without hesitation, without asking me any questions, he asked, well, what do you want it delivered? Okay, I told him. The next morning, I awoke, went out to see Dulcie. What did I find sitting next to the igloo? An entire bale of hay. All right. So I think that story tells you what this man is all about. He's all about caring, and he's all about service. And I don't think that story needs any more further interpretation for you to understand what I'm saying. So on that note, I am so proud to introduce to you our next county judge, Mike Southerland.
I'm embarrassed for people to say those things, but I think you need to understand how I know I can do what I'm telling you I can do. And you name it, and I'll do it. And I won't. The problem, I guess I'm jumping around too much, but one of the things that spurs me to do this is that when I was in Vietnam, I had 6 helicopters, and I had 15 pilots. I can't remember exactly the number. And I had 30 enlisted guys to maintain the helicopters. And so my commander came to me on one battle the other day and said, hey Mike, I want you to send your aircraft and your mechanic over to the next platoon so they can use them. They don't have them. I said, wait a minute. They're supposed to maintain their stuff like I do. I don't know why I'm getting punished for that. And the guy that was crewing the Huey was about 2 months to leave the country. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And so he says, finally, after we argued with him for a while, he says, I'm giving you direct order. So I didn't have a choice if you go to jail or get it. But anyway, what happened was, and I always think about, I should have lasted longer in the argument because the guy got killed. I had to go get him. I did my aircraft and go get him. And so, I never got over that. It was so bad for me. I couldn't remember the guy's name. I couldn't, I just, for years it took me to get over that. So now, I don't like no. I don't take no for an answer. I keep working. There's a solution to everything. Everything has a solution. I don't care what it is. I may be overstated, but that's the truth. If you got enough people that want to get it done, it'll get it done. And for me, you need to understand what I'm talking about, what I want to do, because people say they won't over government. How do you get over the government? You only get over the government by letting the citizens come in and look at the government. And that can be organized, and that's under the jurisdiction of the county judge to let people come in and look at it and make a report in front of the court they got to take action on. So that's what drives me. I got experience in just about every area you can think of. I was the regional Red Cross chair in this big explosion up north of here, and I've been on. I've been president of Habitat, Rotary Club, and you name it. Vietnam veterans for 4 years, so I've been involved. And the reason I've been involved is people say, hey, Mike, we need some help. So I have a very hard time turning down. And so you're supposed to have questions, and Francis pointed out the number you can call. So if you can't get your question in now, we will. But I made a terrible error when I started off as my wife was here, Tammy. And we've been married 59 years. And I can tell you what, that's an experience in and of itself. And how to work that out, how to compromise and all this stuff. Thank you, dear. And she doesn't like to be in these campaigns because when the first time I got elected, we went to a party after the election, and all the old guys were there from the city council, and they wouldn't talk to us. They didn't say a word. And she was so mad because we had come from the military, and I was a lieutenant colonel, we got respect. You get respect there. And one guy told me, he says, Mike, he says, one of the things he said, you got to pay your dues. I said, what? He said, you're the new guy, you got to pay your dues. I said, listen, buddy, I flew helicopters in Vietnam, I paid my dues. I'm not paying anything else. You better listen. And so, I can go on and on about my experiences, but I hope from what they told us, they're involved, what we're involved with things that are significant things that have to change in the city. And any place else that need to change it. Even in the county, when I was in the city council, we got that people came to me about mobile home, having trouble with this mobile home park. Well, it's in the county. I said, well, let me go look. So I went, I had them organized, and it resulted in a $5 million lawsuit that nobody would help these people with. So that's what I'm all about, that's what I want to do in the county. So I'm very happy, having been an hour now, I'm a little over an hour. I'm very happy to open up for questions now, and I'll be answering whatever you say. And if you don't have a question now, there's a phone number. Please call that number and leave a message. Tell me what you want, and I will forward it. Even though I'm not in office, I will forward that on to the staff section of the county commissioners and need to take action on it. Now, the problem we got is that the judge came back, okay? And he wants the East Loop. He wants the East Loop. And he also wants some other things like that $70 million building next door. Why? I don't understand it. When right next door is the health department, and they need all kinds of help. Mental health, we need all kinds of different things. And the only way, in the paper that I gave you, I talk about distributed consequential intelligence. And what that means is, you use it, you know how to fix it. You know what's wrong. But people will listen to you. These two people went to the county commissioners meeting for 8 months. 8 months. They went to every meeting for 8 months. And they said every time the same thing. Don't do it. And they had experts testify about don't do it. But it's still in that. So anyway, I'll open up to questions if you got any questions. Yes, sir.
Can you give us a brief description or a summary of the purpose of the county judge? What do they do? What's the vision? What's the
No.
job?
Yeah, I know.
That's the reason for the question.
The reason, what the county judge is supposed to do is administrator of all the county operations. To give direction beyond the staff and those people, you have to have an agreement of the commissioners court. So right now, the problem is, it's very difficult to get them to agree because they got some interest, special interest. So the way around that, assuming if Peter doesn't get elected or Glenn, God bring with it. Soon, if they get elected and I'm up there, we've got 3 people, that's the majority. So we get pretty much what we want done. However, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to talk to people about what they want. I know what I want. I got 31 things I want to work on. That'd be fun. But that's not the purpose. The purpose, if you'll read my paper, it's you. And people ask me,
But we spoke, and the council,
Commissioner Court?
the council voted unanimously to stop the project.
Okay.
Now they want to come back
that meeting too, and I told them, they can't stop it. There's only one vote on that MPO. They cannot stop it. And as long as it's on that MPO map, the city will keep you from building anything. See, they don't know the rules, that's the problem. And so what you have to, it's a multifaceted thing because you'll have to go to the city of Bryan, like Karen was talking about, against a charter amendment that keeps them from doing that stuff without a vote of the people that are responsible. So, that's the purpose. Anybody else?
But I remember when you were on council, the council wouldn't address the citizens when they came to speak. But you had an item on the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. We were really council together, when it was just like the commissioner's court. You went up there, you said, hey, yada, and they said, okay, see you next time. But Raphael and I got it passed so that if you went to the council meeting and you said you had a problem, the staff had to record it, and then at the next council meeting, they had to report on what they did about it. In writing. And that's what this is about. This is about people's government. It's not about their government. You know, they don't know what to do most of the time. They don't have enough experience. The problem is the staff that they hire are supposed to provide expertise. The problem is, I'm sure you know, that whoever controls information in an organization controls the organization. Well, in the commissioner's court operation, the staff has the information, and they don't share it. I've been up there and talked to them about it. I've told the commissioner's court, you can't make a decision on what they're presenting here to you because they don't say why they did it. They don't even have somebody sign it and say it ought to be done. They're not proud of their work. And so the way you force that is every organization has somebody that watches what they do, has an inspector general, or somebody looks at what they're doing, so there's some kind of standards that they meet. It's not that way in the government here. So the way you establish that is you have to have committees of individuals that are concerned, like y'all concerned about the East Loop, you're concerned about finances, and so you form committees that look into that, and you don't want somebody hired, you don't want somebody from the staff, you want individuals that are unbiased, whether they be biased to their direction, but when you have somebody that's concerned about it, you get more information and better information.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask about. If you could talk more about the citizen committee that you
Okay.
formed and the difference between the auditing and all that.
Okay, well, I've got a paper on that on how we appoint the committee. It's a draft paper. It's in that packet I gave you. But the idea is that the county judge can appoint a committee as long as, not as long as, the judge doesn't have the authority to give them investigative rights or to spend money or to do anything like that. They can only look into it. That's what we need. We need information. They don't have information. So I can appoint a group of people to look into whatever we want to look into, and they come back and see the deal is, you go up there and talk to them at a meeting, and hear citizens or whatever, and they say, okay, right, but if you don't one of my committees, you'll have a report format and a report time, and you'll present that to the county commissioners. And they have to act on it. And if they don't act on it, because I know all y'all are visual thing, if they don't act on it, then it'd be very embarrassing. Because what I usually do is call a meeting in, and that's what I think going on. So you have to put pressure in the right way. I'm not saying be ugly, I'm just saying talk about the facts. Is that it? And so I explained that in that paperwork. But the most, besides the veterans that I talked to you about that happened out motivated, like these young ladies went to the commissioner's court, they were treated terribly. I couldn't believe it. That's another thing that motivated me. We need to be respected. If they got information that y'all have been providing, and that East Loop has been providing, if they got it in the way that you come and talk about it, they did pay for it. They paid $12 million for it. And y'all said don't do it. So that's the only way to get that stuff done is pressure through the citizens. And it's your government, my God. I mean, what does the Constitution say? We the people by the, and Lincoln, we the other people by the approval. But it's designed so that you have control. And these guys act like, once you vote for them, you're stupid. You know? That's what the problem is. Yes, sir, everybody else?
I have a question.
Where?
I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
call you next week and
Yeah.
get the answer to it.
Go ahead.
With all these veterans here, I thought maybe I'll get a quick answer.
Okay.
My family always go out on Veterans Day and on,
Oh, well, good.
to the cemeteries
Uh-huh.
and place the flags.
Huh?
We actually do it on the street.
Can y'all hear? She's talking about that stuff.
The last time, on Veterans Day, we went out, the family divided up, so we had 3 groups and we had about 50 flags each. And we went, and at the end of the 2.5 hours that we were out there, we came to the conclusion we were missing one veteran. And there was no stone, no footstone, no headstone, no. The only thing we could decide was that there had been one of these temporary metal plates that would be stuck in the ground. But the veteran died in 85. And so we were wondering why we had no footstone or some kind of
You
stone.
know the name? Call me the name, I'll research it.
Okay.
Call me the name. She's gonna call the name of the veteran, and he's a stony headstone.
We called the veteran, we called several veterans.
It don't matter, just call me. Anybody got anything else?
This number.
Yeah, that number there.
I don't know if you want me to get into it or not.
Go ahead.
Hi. Usually, most people know me. My name's Chris Barnes. We live in the ETJ, just outside the city of Bryan, close to Culture Field. A lot of the issues you talked about, to me, it seems like the city is planning on their idea and uses for the county. You know, if you look at their long-range plans,
You gotta stop that.
huge amounts of the county are already drawn up for where they want neighborhoods and shopping centers, and I moved out of the country to live in the country.
Yeah.
I don't want all this growth out there. That's one reason why the East Loop is a piece of that plan.
Right.
I mean, we've lived next to Culture Field for 20-something years. Culture Field has been a nice little country airport. I love living next to it. But if you talk to the city of Bryan folks, they have grandiose plans on turning it into something
And there's
huge.
no demand for it.
And there's Easterwood is underutilized. We don't need Culture Field to be that. How can the county, as county judge,
You can't do it.
interface with
You
that?
can't do it. You talk to them. The way it's gotta be done.
We got a city council member here?
Karen, no, Karen. Karen's gonna do a petition.
Okay.
And that's what's got, you gotta change Bryan's charter so they can't do that.
But see, I don't live in the city of Bryan. I can't vote in their elections.
No, we can get other people to sign the
Well,
charter.
that's another problem, is
Yeah.
that we're subject to their whims and desires, but I don't get to vote on the city council for city.
We'll all start that. No, I mean, but I'm serious about the interaction between the county and the 2 cities. There's not enough, and A&M too, there's not enough of that either. So I view the county as the overall ruler, I guess, of the operation. Because you pay taxes in the county, in the city, people pay taxes too, and they're due some assess or some help, whatever it is. One of the things that you brought that up is that y'all know about these data centers.
Yes.
I've been talking to some people at the county about that because, you know, if they decide to build one in the county, y'all know the creek. The county doesn't have any controls. If they get into the ETJ, then the city does, but in the county they don't. Because Wixon has the water, Wixon will have to say, we aren't giving you water, and BTU has power. BTU can give them the power. So what we gotta do is not allow that. We gotta get some rules set up for the county so they don't allow that, because these guys don't have to have our water. They can bring their own water, like a car. They can have a radiator kind of thing.
That's why they want to put it in the county, because they can, not the city.
Right, that's right, we gotta stop that, so I'm not sure exactly what the mechanism will be, but there's gotta be a way. And then the other thing that they have is electricity. They use like 12% of electricity across the United States right now, but they don't have to. You can say, and we can probably make a county rule with that, I'll have to check on that, but it can be said, especially in the city, you have to bring your own power. Some of them do. Some of them have massive generators, so that creates another sound problem. There's a lot of stuff to do with it. So they're not, the county's at risk right now on those data centers. So anyway, anybody else? Y'all been very patient. Yes, sir.
What
doing the East Loop. How did they figure that out? How did they decide that?
Well, they hired a consultant for $15,000.
Yeah, but, yeah, that's right, that's what they were. And then that $70,000 building next door, how did they figure that out was a good thing? We gotta have systems to analyze, but it's gotta be citizen driven. It's not about the city. The knowledge is only vested, the knowledge that you use to make things work is in everybody, not just those people that we elect. But that's what they have. So, the first thing though, on that list I got already written up is a committee to look at the finances, the spending, the budget, and the contract allocation. And then now, better street record, and then we got a lot of roads and bridges that don't want to maintain properly either. I got a place out on Bryan County, they have to drive through the roads, still gravel after 100 years. So, and so then I expect, I got a list, but as I said before, my list is my list, it's not your list. So we have to have, whether you want to do that or not, So what I expect to do is have open government by, I'm going to set the thing up like we did at the city. But I don't expect you to go to a commissioners court meeting and have to put up with it. We'll have a separate meeting so you can state your case, put it on that telephone number or whatever, and I'll have that process like I did in the city. And if they don't like it, some people have to change their attitudes because it's your government. I'm sorry. Is that enough? I'll keep on going. She got a question.
So I hate tax abatements,
Uh-huh.
especially for the big
Oh, yes.
corporations that
Yes.
are coming in because
Yes.
they just ruin the community.
Right.
What can we do to redirect if we offer tax abatements to smaller companies that would maintain the rural?
It's a process. Because right now, Self-Disclosure Bureaus up there say, oh, I love that, that's a great idea. So you got to have a system for that to be paid out. I spoke against, there was a data center going in out there at Brazos, and Bryan was giving them $13 million to come here, and the county gave them $9 million. So I got on television, I raised hell. I said, wait a minute, boys, are you kidding me? They're not good. You don't have to pay them. They're coming here for A&M. That's why they're coming here. You have to pay them a penny for that. Well, of course, I lost
Plus
that.
they raise the tax rate, so how are they gonna get the people to live here if they can't afford to live here?
Yeah, that's right. That's another thing about those data centers. If you don't make them bring your own power, they use your power to drive the prices up. So I understand. And if I don't understand, I'll ask ChatGPT. Anybody else? Sir. Yes, sir.
How effective can the commissioner's court be in the big picture?
They control your life. If you're in the county, they control your life.
How many cogs are there in that wheel?
Just them. And a lot of it right now, the judge controls. Like that East Loop study, that's his deal. Somebody asked me to go look at the documents, and the contract for this, what's that guy's name?
John Holster.
Poster. His contract was supervising that stuff, and it wasn't even a contract. It was not a legal document.
Are they still paying it?
Yeah, they're still paying. Right. So, they don't want to buy it. They don't, if they at least tried to follow the laws that they set out, we'd be a lot better off. And if they don't, we got to use your input to say, wait, boys, y'all are going down the wrong road. But right now, y'all say that, but I'm going to listen to you. But I guarantee you, I'll act on that. That's the only way to turn it around. They're just too free to do what they want to do. They got too many assets that they can use. $70 million in that building next door? Are you kidding me? And the building that was there is $5. Anyway. So
You
see,
can get on the ME building for that.
yeah, so what you have to do is
Plus the ongoing cost of
you have to have somebody make a survey on how much space do they need. In the Army, man, we had to justify our job. And we had space studies all the time.
Zero accounting, that's how they should budget, zero.
Yeah,
They
well,
start at
whatever.
zero, they
Yeah.
justify everything that they get.
So my first committee is that spending committee, so we'll see what y'all think. Anybody else?
I got one more.
Sir, yes, sir.
Pretty much everybody in this room knows what kind of person you are. How can we help you be like
I think,
that? Can we put signs in our yard? What can we do to help
The signs are worthless, really. I got signs, and I got, it's like that, you want one of those, like that in your yard?
Tell us how we can help you get
The best way to help is on Facebook, tell everybody, your neighbors tell everybody, word of mouth is best, because I don't think people pay attention to those signs, and I don't get any endorsements, because I don't want to be beholden to anybody. When you make a decision, you gotta be unfettered. You gotta be clear-minded, and you can't say, well, I think Joe, as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna say his name, but one of the commissioners court people said he wanted to put an item on the agenda about the eat slough. Now, he said that 3 times when I called him. I said, okay, I'll help you. I'll write it for you. I'll tell you the rules because they were trying to keep him from doing it. So I wrote the rules, wrote the paper for him, said, we told him about sending a copy to all the media. And he said, oh, Mike, I don't want to do that. I said, well, you said you wanted to do it. And so he said, oh, no, I don't want to make those people mad that I got to work with up there. But the problem is they don't vote for him. That's the problem. It's you, not them. Anybody else? Hey, ladies, I'm talking here. Yes, sir.
Appreciate if someone would take a picture of this meeting and send it to me so I can post it on our.
He'll do. This gentleman right here is recording the whole thing, and it's going to be on. It's on your sheet. It's on one of your sheets.
T-Span.
T-Span. Thank you very much.
So where do we go to get it?
It's on. I gave you the documents. It's on there, and it'll be on there for